there's always a focus point in the, as we say, it's a subject matter within the frame itself. But the frame is actually spherical, right? It's just a sphere. Maybe your daughter is in the center of the sphere, holding a birthday cakes uh, and say happy birthday to you. But there's always a focus that you care about. And there is something about 360 is that you want to find things that is really unique and exclusive. We once did a very controversial topics with university that is about a funeral of someone. It's a Dao rituals in Hong Kong, a funeral. It's really a Hong Kong style and a Hong Kong culture about that. So we got a permission to get in and do some 360 shooting in a funeral rituals and ceremonies like that. And this is the preparation we need to know. We need to understand that the story and to think really as in a sphere. But what happens? We have learned in the past years about when we get into the location itself. Is that we need to know the position and the distance, because maybe a lot of you know about one of the things that in the whole production process is after you're doing the shooting, there's a lot of stitching process, the post-production, and you always find that how come these cameras is so difficultly stitched together, and there's always something that's flaws in between. So how can we fix that? Is that while we're doing the shooting, the position of the camera is very important. Well, how it is important is that to give the very powerful shots that captures the intention of the people that they interest. You're not putting the camera on the side of the stage and say that you capture 360. That's not the way that we do. We need to capture the center of things and the point that the audience are very interested in it. And of course, the movement. Someone would say, okay, I got a red cold cam, I got a Kodak, or even something very handy, I can move around, or even I got a drone. But if that drone or if that camera movement, at the end of the video, you find it's very dizzy. I can't really actually figure out the point, the concentration, what you're going to talk about. That's the camera movement you need to dig into how you do that. And we find out that stable shot or steady shots, keeping in a very clear horizon of in the pictures is very important, because a lot of the audience is actually putting on the headsets or viewing in the mobile phones or viewing on the web, and they has to be very get into or used to the environment. So the pictures itself has to be very stable. So the camera movement while we're doing the shooting is essential. We cannot just thought it is a very handy and very lightweight camera and so be it. So when we come across shooting in 360, we got hold with a lot of different choices of cameras outside in the market, whether it's a interest based or prosumer or professional or even film levels. There are a lot of choices, but knowing that the flexibility of picking the choices or even putting some spare choices in your pockets or bring it to the locations is important, because you don't know what happens in the environment, whether it suddenly got rain, you suddenly got packed in the tram. You don't know what happened. Of course, you do a lot of location scouting, or you know what the situation may be, but you cannot master that. So you have to get a lot of choices in your pockets. Bring more would be better than bring less, right? So some of our clients always ask, can you get out of the in the sphere. I said, well, we'll see. The contents of your video is news, it's a story, it's even maybe a live streaming. Uh, let's see which one is in it, and we will decide whether the film crew can be flexible enough to move around the environment and do different adjustments. Or maybe the crew itself is a very essential narrative participant in the pictures as well. So it may be a good example. It may be a good point to let the crew stay in the camera. So back into our editing room, we do a lot of works. People may not know that you're spending a lot more time doing the stitching, doing the post-production, rather than just going out to the location. And we find out that final three things about doing the post-production is that there are a lot of whole editing workflow in doing it. But people may drill into doing fine things, whether I can get a really perfect stitch and get the image ready for clients to approve or to comments. I would say don't do it now. The first step is to let yourself have the rough image ready and know the sequence you have on hand. And then afterwards, when the sequence is okay, I would say we can do some fine stitching, grading, and post-production effects or other audio effects that can put into. And I would really emphasize on the pacing of the whole video, because people are actually they are holding maybe a headset. They need time to walk around, to look around the image, look around the story. So why not give them like 20 or 30 more seconds before you're really starting to giving them details, giving them the story behind. This is important because if they don't have the space, don't have the time to digest, to chill maybe, just to chill the experience, I think that's the point, that maybe it's too jumpy in between shots or in between the sequence. And the last thing I want to talk about is the guide throughout the whole video. Maybe you find very difficult to tell a story because there's so much things happening around you in the sequence. But why not give maybe a voiceover guide, a voiceover talent, or maybe a real person speaker standing in front, standing in the video to talk to the audience. It's like a real person talking to him. Maybe you can have some light guide using some sequence to help you guide through the people to look around the image so that people won't turn their head all the way to different positions. Very suddenly, they will be very awkward, right? So that's the three things I want to tell you all, that in 360 video production, story must be the first priority, and we should not give it not a room to speak itself. And the framing is rather important because someone will mix that up. And finally, the product itself, the video itself, should have its own pace. This is different from traditional video. So that's us, and thank you.